YouTube? Welcome back, Sofa King Tactical. Sorry for the lack of videos. It's winter. I've been doing wintry things, but it's a nice day out. 70 degrees. Apologize for any noise in advance. Every fart can Honda and straight piped Harley is out today, tearing up and down my residential dead end street for some reason. So if you hear that racket, my bad. I moved into a noisy town. I wanted to give an update on the BA50 and especially discuss some bipod options. First thing you'll notice is I did get an optic mounted. Got some Weaver tactical rings holding an SWFA 16x42 Super Sniper. It's a pretty affordable, you could almost say it's a cheap optic. They run like $300 new. According to what I've researched on the internet, they're real good at putting up with the recoil from the 50. Doesn't beat them up too bad. One thing that's kind of strange about them, most optics with an adjustable parallax, it's on the other side of this turret over there, or it's on the objective here. On these optics, it's here where the zoom ring would be. Being a fixed 16, there is no zoom ring. Haven't tried it out yet. We'll see what happens. As far as how the optic looks, the glass is fine. This one's a milliradian. Eye relief is pretty critical on it. Yeah, that's where your eye goes. I've noticed that if you're not right where you need to be, you get some fuzzy blackness around the edges. You can't expect everything from a $300 optic that's got the durability to take hits from this kind of a rifle. So let's talk about bipods on this thing. The problem, you don't have a pick rail on the bottom of the handguard, and the bipod that they supply, let me put it together real quick. I'm not going to mount it back up because it's so bad. I'm never going to use it. Basically, it's this thing, this M60 looking thing. The stud goes through it. Tighten this big nut. And that's what you end up with, is this wiggly, wobbly, non-height adjustable thing. That might be good for a machine gun, but no good for a precision rifle. Mix that with the 8+ pound trigger. I'm not really sure what Bushmaster was thinking even including this. They could have just left it out. Would have been fine. Not going to use it. It's held on by these two holes through the stud. There's a threaded backing plate here, and then there's a little Loctite on it to hold it all together. This is the normal way that you mount a bipod. You have a Sling stud swivel thing screwed into your stock, and your Harris or Harris Copycat clips into that little hole, and it works really good. I could not find a normal Sling stud swivel threaded appropriately, so I bought an Allen head screw, an Allen head bolt, drilled a hole through it, broke a couple drill bits doing it, it's kind of dangerous, and then threaded it into that threaded backer. It works fine. There's not a lot of material, as you can see in this picture, and I'm concerned with it tearing loose and destroying that Allen bolt. You also end up mounting up a Harris style bipod. This is a cheap knockoff Walmart version. I didn't want to break a real Harris if it's going to break it, so I was going to try this one out first. I talked to Harris. They said that their bipods are used routinely on 50s and that they can hold 50 pounds of rifle. This thing's probably around 35, but it just looks spindly. Looks like it doesn't belong. I don't know, looks really matter, but I wanted something a little burlier on here in the long run. So after farting around with this for a couple minutes, it turns out that this particular Chinese Harris knockoff won't even fit on that stud. The original one that I set it up with was a slightly smaller one that didn't have a swivel on it, and it did fit on there, but it's just not going to work. So I spent the day figuring out a way to put a pick rail on there. Let me get that attached, and I'll show you the solution I came up with. So if you go on the eBay, there's a seller or a company on there called AIM Sports, and you can buy chunks of Picatinny rail in 1 foot sections. Right here is about an 1.5 inch piece that I had laying around cut off. This is kind of a rough draft. I'm going to make a nicer one eventually. You can use those two holes, run 2 of those Allen head bolts in. You can't use the ones that came with it, they're too long. Just grab shorter ones at the hardware store, and you can bolt on a little chunk of pick rail here, and then you can use bipods that are designed to attach to that pick rail. UTG, which is admittedly a Chinese company, came out with this ludicrously big bipod. It's gigantic. It's called their Big Bore Full Stability Bipod. And it's massive, and I think it's going to look, I haven't even tried it on the rifle yet, but I think it's going to look perfect on here. And it seems, it's all metal, it seems extremely strong. So let me mount that up. Alright, there it is, mounted to the pick rail. Real quick to mount. Certainly faster than trying to attach and detach a Harris or similar that goes on the Sling stud swivel. You just loosen that up, clamp it to the pick rail, snug it down, and you're done. You can pop it back off, put it in the case, and then put the rest of the rifle in the case. You can't have the rifle in the case with the bipod attached. You have to take it on and off every time you pull it out. Something to note too, that optic with the 2.5-inch sunshade on it, that is the absolute longest optic you can fit in the case mounted to the rifle. If you wanted to run, a much larger optic like a lot of the guys running 50s would, you're going to have to either get rid of the spot that holds the magazines or get yourself a different case that's got more room for glass and then maybe the bipod as well. So let me flip this thing up. I'll show you how the bipod works. So there it is with the bipod deployed with the feet at a 90-degree angle to the barrel. They'll go parallel backwards, parallel forward, 45 in each direction, and then 90. So if you needed it, it's kind of a tall bipod, especially with that mess going on underneath the pick clamp. So if you needed it a little lower, you can move those to a more forward position. If you need it a lot higher, say you're shooting downhill or shooting from the top of a hill and the hill's sloping away from you, it'll get really tall. One odd thing, if you're used to the Harris bipods, when you hit the release for the legs, they shoot out under spring power. They get out pretty quick. These ones take two hands. You have to hold the release down and then pull them out. They shoot back in under spring power. I don't know what the thought process there is. I kind of prefer the Harris way where they shoot out to make things deploy a little bit quicker. Another couple features you'll notice, here and here you have two levers. This lever snugs up the tilt portion of it. I think it tilts 45 degrees in each direction, maybe 40. This lever here snugs up the pan. This one works good for the tilt. It'll hold it wherever you want it. It's not bad. You can put some friction in and put a little tilt to it and then reach forward and just kind of lock it down with that. The pan one, I need to do some investigating and see if you can tighten this, because the way it's set up out of the box, it just pans all over the place. It won't lock it straight. It just puts a little bit of friction into it, but it's still very easy when you load the bipod for it to kind of twist off center. So I need to investigate that a little bit. You're gonna get what you pay for here. These were around like 150 bucks. I got it on clearance for way, way less than that, which is really the only reason I decided to try it out. It was cheaper than an entry-level Harris, so I figured I'd give it a shot. It looks right. It seems really strong and durable. I think it'll work, especially for what I'm gonna do, which is just blowing big holes and stuff. But if you're Mr. Semi-automatic Barrett sniper guy shooting 750 AMAXs at 2,000 yards or 2 miles or whatever, you're probably going to want something higher quality than this. Yeah. So anyway, those are the updates on the BA50. Next up is going to be reloading some brass that I've got. I got everything I need to load. I just gotta get around to it, basically. I don't have a place to shoot yet, so it's kind of pointless to load the ammo for it. I am looking at joining a club about an hour and a half from me that does have a 600-yard range where their berm will take 50 BMG rounds. I got to talk to them, go down, take a look at the facility, see if it's nice, see if it's worth. It costs more than my current range, which is bigger. There's an initiation fee, and it's an additional half-hour drive for me. But it's kind of my only option, so I'll probably end up pulling the trigger on that. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe and like and ring the bell and all those buttons you're supposed to push. I'm still short on that 1 billion subscribers. I think we've gotten a little bit closer since the last video, but there's still a ways to go. So don't forget to tell your friends, tell your grandma, get everybody to sub the channel. Your kids too. We don't say bad words. Thanks for stopping by. Stay tuned. I'm out.